What if working alongside someone new suddenly gave you flashbacks of one of the most legendary actors in Hollywood? That's exactly what happened to actress Judy Greer when she stepped onto the set of The Long Walk with Cooper Hoffman, the son of the late Philip Seymour Hoffman. And the way she describes it feels nothing short of powerful. Today, we're diving into how Cooper reminded her of his iconic dad, what it was like working together, and why this Stephen King adaptation is one of the most talked-about films of the season. Judy Greer, who you know from 13 Going on 30 and countless other roles, didn't expect to feel anything unusual while working with Cooper Hoffman. After all, she never even met Philip Seymour Hoffman, who passed away tragically in 2014 at just 46 years old. But while filming this dystopian horror story, Greer said there were these tiny, fleeting moments that felt strangely familiar. Moments where Cooper would pull a face, laugh in a certain way, or gesture, and it was like déjà vu. As she later realized, those were echoes of Philip Seymour Hoffman. Now, what's interesting is that Judy made it very clear she doesn't see Cooper as Philip's son when they're working. She sees him as Cooper, her co-star, her pal, her scene partner. And yet, as a lifelong fan of Philip Seymour Hoffman's work, she couldn't help but notice those occasional similarities that snuck through. Imagine sitting across from someone who unknowingly channels a piece of cinematic history. You wouldn't forget it. And here's where things get even more fascinating. Judy compared this experience to working with Gaia Wise, the daughter of actress Emma Thompson. She said Gaia is absolutely her own person, but every once in a while she'd flash a look or strike a pose that screamed, Emma. It's not about living in their parents' shadow. It's about those subtle, inherited quirks that fans of the parents instantly recognize. It's the kind of magic you can't manufacture. But Judy Greer's admiration for Cooper Hoffman goes way beyond family resemblance. She admitted she fell in love with his talent long before they ever met. Back in 2021, when Paul Thomas Anderson's Licorice Pizza hit theaters, Greer didn't even realize who Cooper's father was. She was simply blown away by this newcomer who stole every scene. The charisma, she said, was bananas. She couldn't take her eyes off him. That's the kind of raw star power we rarely see anymore. And now, fast forward to 2025, Cooper is leading a Stephen King adaptation. Not just any King story, but The Long Walk, a haunting dystopian tale written in 1979 about a brutal contest where 100 boys are forced to walk until only one survives. The prize? Freedom and fortune. The cost? Death for everyone else. It's grim, it's chilling, and it's perfect for today's audiences who crave both horror and heart. Directed by Francis Lawrence, yes, the same filmmaker who worked with Philip Seymour Hoffman on The Hunger Games, the film has an eerie sense of legacy attached to it. Lawrence knows what Philip brought to the screen, and now, in a strange twist of fate, he's directing Philip's son in one of the darkest King adaptations yet. Talk about full circle. And let's not forget the rest of the cast. Mark Hamill, the legendary Luke Skywalker himself, plays the authoritarian Major. He's the face of the cruel regime that enforces this deadly walk. Alongside him are rising stars like David Johnson, Ben Wang, Charlie Plummer, Garrett Waring, and Tut Nuot. Each one brings a different layer of humanity to this nightmare scenario. Together, they create a story that's not just about survival, but about identity, resilience, and the cost of ambition. Now, Judy Greer plays the mother of Cooper's character, Ray Garrity, the teenage boy at the heart of the story. And while the film itself is filled with emotional intensity, Greer says working with Cooper off-set was the complete opposite. They had instant chemistry. They laughed, they joked, they felt like lifelong friends. Judy even joked that technically she could have known him his entire life, but even without that, she felt an immediate bond. It's that kind of natural connection that makes their on-screen relationship all the more believable. And here's the hook you didn't see coming. Greer admits she sometimes felt like she had known Cooper forever, not because of his dad, not because of Hollywood, but because of the way he carries himself. That ease, that warmth, that charm, it all makes you want to root for him, which is exactly why audiences will find themselves glued to the screen when The Long Walk hits theaters. But here's something even more thought-provoking. Philip Seymour. Hoffman was known for his ability to disappear into every role. He could play a tortured writer, a manipulative villain, or a tender father, and you'd believe every second of it. Cooper, in his own way, is carving out a similar reputation. He doesn't feel like an actor who's trying to be someone else. He simply is. That authenticity is what Judy Greer and so many others find mesmerizing. And as fans, we can't ignore the emotional weight here. Seeing Cooper succeed doesn't just remind us of his father, it reminds us of what's possible when talent, timing, and passion align. It's not about comparison, it's about continuation. It's about how one generation can inspire the next, even if they're not around to see it. Judy Greer put it best. Cooper Hoffman is not Philip Seymour Hoffman. He's his own artist, his own man, his own storyteller. But sometimes, in those fleeting moments, he gives us a glimpse of a legend we lost too soon. And that, in itself, is beautiful. So, as The Long Walk marches into theaters on September 12th, audiences won't just be watching a chilling Stephen King adaptation. They'll be witnessing a young actor stepping into his own spotlight while carrying with him a subtle echo of greatness. And that's something you won't want to miss. Now let me ask you this. Have you ever met someone who reminded you so strongly of another person that it almost felt surreal? That's the kind of energy Judy Greer describes when she talks about Cooper Hoffman. And maybe, just maybe, that's the secret ingredient that makes him one of the most exciting actors of his generation. Stay tuned, because this isn't just a movie release, it's a moment in Hollywood history. And if Judy Greer's instincts are right, Cooper Hoffman isn't just walking in his father's footsteps. He's creating a path entirely his own.